Look, folks, I don't know where to start or finish this. I don't even know that I should be doing this video, but I'm doing it anyway. For those that watch the channel, you may remember that a couple of weeks ago now, I said I was halfway through a really hectic and awful week. We were halfway through a house move which I wasn't looking forward to. And on top of that, I got some awful news by text, and I mean absolutely awful news, that a friend of mine had sadly passed. And the reason it was awful news was firstly because he wasn't that old. Secondly, because it was just totally unexpected. Thirdly, because he was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful human being. And I mean wonderful. I mean the W being as big a capital as you can find. One of the nicest people I've ever come across in my lifetime. And lastly, probably a sense of guilt, because I could have seen him more throughout his lifetime. I classed him as an absolutely fantastic friend, yet I've no right to, because I've seen him so infrequently. I don't know that I should be doing this video, as I say, because I haven't got anybody's permission to do it. Nobody may ever see it. This video isn't for yourselves, those that watch the channel. But if you want to stick with it, you can do, by all means. Everybody's welcome. You may have somebody like this friend of mine who's recently passed or is about to. If you are, you're lucky to have such a friend. Because these friends, and then these friends again, these good people, these great people, and then these people like this person, John. He was just a wonderful, as I say, wonderful human being. And I haven't got permission to film this from his family. They don't know that I'm filming it. They may never see it. I may never tell them that I've recorded it, but further down the line they may come across it, or somebody may tell them about it. It may upset them, although I hope it doesn't. There's going to be nothing in there that's bad about the husband, the father, the son. And I'm certainly not doing it for any benefit of my own, or I mean, I don't want anybody to fall out with me over it, but by the same token, I don't want anybody to pat me on the back for it and say, oh, well done. People that know me know that I don't seek thanks or praise of anybody. It's just not my way. But this gentleman died, as I say, a few weeks ago now. Came totally out of the blue. I got a text probably 8:30 on a Saturday night to say he'd passed on the Wednesday. And it just completely knocked me off my feet. It really, really did. I didn't see it coming. And probably within a week of hearing of it, I thought, I'm going to do something like this before the funeral, whenever the funeral may be. It's now, is it Saturday or Sunday? What day am I on? Sunday night. I don't know the day. I think it's the 29th. It is the 29th. John's funeral is tomorrow morning, and I'll be there. I don't go a hell of a lot of funerals because I don't tend to like them. I mean, we're not supposed to like them, are we? But this is one I just wouldn't miss and couldn't miss. It's a pay your respect kind of thing, but it's also, I don't know, it's something that I probably would always, the word is not myself, but I can't think of anything else, not myself, were I not to turn up. It's something I shouldn't miss, though I know I'm going to be deeply upset there. The reason behind the video is thus, where did I get that from? I watched a film many years ago now. I watched lots of films. It was a Western film, and although I loved it, it isn't one of the greatest films of all time. But I remember some words that were uttered at the time, and they've stuck with me for 30 odd years now or more. It's a Western film. It's a John Wayne film. I don't even know if John, my friend that's died, was keen on Westerns. He probably once told me, but my memory's that bad I would never know. I don't know as much about him as I should, to be honest with you, but John, that is, my mate John. More about that in a moment. But I'm watching this Western. It's called The Sons of Katie Elder. It's not regarded as one of John Wayne's best films, although I really liked it. I think it's underrated. It's all a bit predictable, but I liked it. It stars a few people I like John Wayne and Dean Martin, so I like it even more. And it's about four brothers that really for 10, 15, 20, 25 years haven't seen much of each other. and they get together for the mother's funeral. The lady in the title, Katie Elder. Katie's husband's died a year or two before. He's called Bass, if memory serves. John Wayne plays a gunslinger who's often chased around the West by other gunslingers who want to beat him in a draw to prove that they're better than him, and so on and so forth. He's got a dodgy brother amongst them. He's got a young brother who's gone to Union, and that basically is the plot line. People don't think John's going to come back for the funeral, but he does. He watches from afar. And there's a lot of love for the mother, for Katie, within the film. She has a visitor, a younger lady that visits her regularly and often cooks for her. And early on in the film, and this is what I'm getting at, and I've gone around in circles, please forgive me. Early on in the film, it may be John Wayne, it may not be, but somebody either thanks, and I can't remember who it is, they might thank the priest, vicar, or whatever it may be, for the kind words at the funeral. I think it's more likely they thank this young lady who has helped the mother and been a comfort to the mother whilst the brothers have all been away doing whatever they do. And I think one of them says something like, thanks for the kind words you gave to me, mother, or something similar. So it could be the guy who stood over the burial, but it could have been the lady. And I think they say back something like, it's a pleasure. Nothing's too much for Katie. She was just so special. But they say Katie deserved words spoken about her. I think they might say that she deserved a lot more than words. I can't remember. I don't know if they said she deserved great words spoken at a passing, or whether she was that good she deserved words, and much more than words, she deserved deeds and whatever else. And that stuck with me at the time, because I thought to myself, there's certain people you meet in life that deserve nice things said about them when they go. And you go to so many funerals where you might go to a church service, which is what's happening tomorrow, and then I think we're going to somewhere for John to be cremated, which happens again tomorrow, and then they're getting round for a get-together for a drink and probably a chat about his life and what a wonderful person he was. I know one thing for sure, nobody's going to say anything bad about him tomorrow. They never did anyway, because he was special, as I say. But I was seeing this on Katie Elder, and I thought, there are some people that just deserve words. They don't deserve a funeral, a mass, and then just to be sent up that chute at the cremation and whatever else. They deserve somebody to stand up and say something about them. Now, maybe somebody tomorrow, the funeral tomorrow, is going to do that. I hope to goodness somebody is. I even thought to myself, if nobody gets up, I'm just going to get up and walk to the front and say something. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Firstly, because I might offend folk and I don't want to do that. Secondly, because I'll probably lose it and I don't want to do that. And thirdly, because people are going to think, why on earth would he be the one that would get up? He's not seen much of John over the last years and so on and so forth. And John has got closer friends than him, as in me. And those things would be true. But all the same, I feel something should be said on his behalf, so that's what I'm going to do. And that's what this is about. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the John that I knew and why I thought of him so highly. I'm more than likely not going to tell his wife or his family that I've recorded this today. I'm going to put it out tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. His funeral's at 10:30, a church funeral. So I would imagine by 11 somebody will say something, get up and say something if that's planned. Or maybe they will at the, is it the interment? I think it is, I'm not so sure, at the crematorium. And if they do, I'm probably going to wipe this tomorrow night. And if they don't, I'm probably going to leave this on there. I was going to put the gentleman's name at the thumbnail at the front to attract people to see it, but I don't really want to attract people to see it. They'll just come across it one day if they meant to. I may tell his wife or those close to him that I've done this tomorrow, but I'm not expecting to, because it's not the way I would do things. Because when you do that, they might be grateful, but they may not be. I'm worried about them not being, but I don't want somebody to say, well done, or this, that. I don't want to need any of that. this is about John, it's not about me. It's not about anybody but him. But I just want to tell you, whoever you may be it friends, relations, family V's, or just people watching, we've all lost folk over the years. We've all lost good people, we've lost bad people, we've lost great people, we've lost not so great people. But I was thinking after I heard John died, probably a day or two later, I thought, how many people have I come across in my lifetime? You know, I mean, I've always been out and about. I've never been one to stop in. I've met loads and loads of people. I've had loads and loads and loads of friends. Been in loads of situations. I've had a hectic life, as in a nightlife, going out to pubs and clubs and so on and so forth. Loads of people I've met through the music that I followed and my music and whatever. I've played in bands. I've holidayed regularly and met lots of people on holidays. And I've worked in plenty of jobs, and I mean plenty of jobs. And through those jobs I've met one hell of a lot of people, and some absolutely brilliant people. And I thought, well I'll have met more than 1,000. Would it be 3,000? Would it be 5,000? I would guess somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 people are what I met over the years. And I thought to myself, I'm not so sure I can think of 10 people, be it male or female of any age, that are absolutely brilliant people. That's 10 people who I can think of that are just so special. They stand out from all of the rest. I'm not so sure I can think of 10. It might take me a good while to get to that number. I might not be able to get to it. But what I know for complete and utter fact is, of all the people I've ever met, John is without doubt one of those people. He sails into the top 10. He really does. I can't say I've ever heard John say any bad things about anybody. Maybe he has. We all do. Maybe he has. Maybe he has in jest, probably more than anything else, but I can't remember it. What I can say is, I've never heard a single soul say one bad thing about John. Not one bad thing. He was just so special. Came from a great family. Comes from a great family. I hate to talk in the past tense. Wonderful mother and father. Just two lovely people. Two great brothers. Lovely little sister. Just a great family. They were a Catholic family. To me it means nothing. It's just religion. John was a year younger than me in school, but actually the same age. I found out only a week or so ago. I thought he was younger in age. He was younger in school year, but I was young for my age in school, and he must have been old for his age. He went to junior school, as did I. Went to a senior school, not grammar school again, as did I. I went to one in Warrington. He went to the other major one in Warrington, about 3 miles apart. I never went to school with him. I only got to know him age 16 or 17 or 17 or 18. I can't remember. I'm always awful with dates and times. My memory is poor. I say it regularly. I was in a band playing guitar. Couldn't play it to save my life. Absolutely terrible. John was the guy who showed me bits to play and chords to play and how to get along, because John played guitar. But whereas I was terrible, he was self-taught and brilliant, as in really brilliant. Just a clever guy. I wasn't in a band with John. I think in a band with others. But ultimately John joined the band and I was in 2 bands with him. For 3 or 4 years, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, I was regularly in his company, regularly daytimes. If there were times that we didn't work or we weren't working or between jobs or whatever it may have been, we'd be together on a regular basis, learning songs, playing music together. That was my main time with him, that 3 or 4 year window. Then probably from say 17 to 20, 21. I don't even know the ages, but he was just wonderful. We had the same kind of tastes in music. We liked rock music. He liked a lot more mellow stuff than I did, but no problem with that on that score. We both sort of played an instrument, but I couldn't play mine. He could play his. I ultimately in the second band went singing. He carried on playing guitar. Great to have on your left hand side, because you knew he wouldn't let you down and he was brilliant at the job. The second band, we had all good musicians in it, but John was by far and away the best. Just a classy guy, classy lad. Just really special. I remember once, so many, many years ago now, one of the first girlfriends I had after leaving high school. She was a girl from, I think it was Gorton in Manchester, and I'm seeing her, and I'd been on one date, and then I was about to see her the following week, and he said, Dave, if you need my car, take my car. Now I had a car at the time, I had a Marina that I shared with my mum. We paid for it together on the drip. She used it daytimes and I tend to use it night times. But Johnny had a TR7, don't know if you remember him. They were the ones where, get the headlights on, the headlights would rise up and work, and then when you turned them off they would go down, and it was a sports car, it looked the business. And I said, don't be silly, Johnny. He said, Dave, use it, I trust you, you're not going to bang it. He said, you'll look after it, it's mine. I did. I think it impressed the young lady. We weren't together for that much longer, but that wasn't John's fault. But I thought, which people would do that? I didn't ask him to use the car. I didn't put it out that I would like to, or that I was jealous that he had a better car, and I was, but in a nice way. He just offered it, and I said, no, and he almost insisted that I use it. That one act really told me all I need to know about John. That was the kind of person he was. Just a wonderful guy. And as I say, we had sort of 3 or 4 years together. He had 2 pals, Kevin and Steve, very, very close to him. They went high school together. I think they went junior school together, but I don't know. But I do know because I've been told, and I just can't remember. But I know they were always very close to him. Still are, as far as I'm aware. When I heard that John had died, it was through a text from my mate, and the text originally came from Kev. Kev messaged my mate, and my mate messaged me to pass it on. And I thought to myself at the time, I've not seen Kev for 15 or 20 years. I've not seen Steve for even longer. 2 great lads, really, really great lads. More about one of them, more about both of them, further on in the story. But anyway, for years, as I say, I'm a good mate of John's, a really good mate. Just think the world of him. And then as you get into relationships and so on and so forth, and you move house, and you may be moving with a girlfriend or whatever else it may be, you sort of lose touch. And I did and didn't for many a year. I'd come across John now and again, and him, me, but not on a regular basis. But from time to time you'd hear news from different parts of town, and you'd hear about John and whatever else. And many, many years ago now, he had a heart attack and he was rushed into hospital. It could have been touch and go at one time, I believe. He was in a bad way, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I've got it in my head it was his mid to late 20s. After speaking to somebody who I'm going to mention further down the line only about a week ago, turns out they think mid 30s, late 30s. That's still 30 odd years ago, and no one could believe it because John was always reasonably fit, played a bit of football, not an excessive drinker or eater or anything like that, never smokes if memory serves, and it just came as a shock. And I don't think there was a history of heart attacks in the family. Anyway, they took him in hospital, got him sorted out. It was a big operation, might have been a couple of valves in or whatever else. I can't remember what it was at the time, but I know. And ever since then he's been careful, he's been sensible, he's changed his diet, he's been fine. And as I say, from time to time I'd come across John till about, say, 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit less now, I think it was my sister-in-law, said, I take my car to such and such a place. The lad there that does the cars is brilliant and doesn't half look after you. All right, well, I'm looking for somewhere new. I've been disappointed where I've been. I'll give it a go. Lo and behold, John's working there. And the person she's talking about is John. And I can't believe it. I'm thinking, John, it's yourself, I didn't realise you was working there. How long have you been here for? He said, about 18 months now, Dave. I said, I'm sorry I've not spoke to you for a while, John. And how are you? And we got talking. I mean, before that, I've got my business and I'm trading for about 15 years. And I'm running my own business. And John's got his car business. He's selling cars at one time. We're both working really, really hard. I'd say I'm forgetting things. I'm going up. This is what you get with no script, folks. John has his place near Bank Park in Warrington. I've got my place in Longford Street, which is about a mile away, mile and a half away. And many years ago, as I say, I know he's selling cars, and someone said, John's doing cars, and told me where they are. And I think, well, I need a car for, I think it was my son at the time. So I went and seen John, and John looked after me and got me a car for lad. did the odd service on my lad's car and on my car, because he used to double up selling cars with fixing the odd car to bring extra money in. Worked long hours, I think he worked 6 days a week. Like me, he was taking calls at home and so on and so forth. He was never ever switching off. He was under massive pressure to keep his business going, because he had some months and some years that were really poor and others that were better. Everything was mirroring what I was doing with my business. It was exactly the same. There was time he wanted some work done on his house, and I said, John, I can do it for you if you want me to. I said, you don't need me to. He said, but I can do it. I said, I'll look after you. I won't rob you. It'll be fantastic. And if you have any problems, just pick up the phone and I'll put them right. He said, Dave, I know what you do. I know what you are. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he said, give me a quote for it. Straight away, he said, yeah, I'll have it, Dave. I don't think he shopped around. I don't think he did anything. He trusted me the same way I trusted him with my lad's car. Now, laugh on the joke side of things, we had a couple of problems with my lad's car. I think it was a little blue Peugeot 106. My lads always say, oh, dodgy cars off your dodgy mates and all that palaver. But no, not at all. It was all a joke on my lad's part. My lad thought the world of John. He took it back a couple of times, put things right and whatever. No problem at all. Nothing was too much trouble for John. He's never done anybody all his life, so he definitely wouldn't do me. But he looked after me. He always has. He's that kind of person. And as I say, so for that sort of 10-year period that my business ran in line with his, we've seen a lot of each other. My business closed up over 10 years ago now, and a few years since Johnny closed his business up. I actually lost mine. He may have lost his, I'm not sure. Hopefully never. And then somebody told me he'd gone into just mechanicking, no pressure, no mither, no grief, was his own boss, didn't have everybody's wages to pay, an easier life. And I didn't know he was doing it at this garage, and as I say, I took me carrying one day, and it's John there. So for the last sort of 8-10 years, when I've had problems with the car, I took them to John. We've got 4 within the family, 4 cars that is. Any MOTs, took them to John. Weirdly, my wife took a car into him early on this year. Yeah, early on this year. I'm thinking, what year are we in now? And it's weird. It's really hit her. It's really upset her. She just doesn't know him. She only knows John through taking a car in. Nothing else. She'd never met him before. And he said, Donna, I'm only going to do half a service on it this year. You had the full service last year. Next year it'll be a full service again. Is that alright? She said, yeah, whatever you think. And he did the car for her, got everything done, and then left her with, see you same time next year, Donna, which would have been January. So he's died a couple of weeks before Christmas. She'd be seeing him in 2 or 3 weeks' time now, and now she's not going to see him. And she'd always come away saying, that mate of yours, he's a cracking lad, isn't he? I said, he's the best, Donna. He's the best, he really is. So anyway, that's not to happen now. I've drove past the garage once. I'll never go there again. I don't know who works there. I couldn't go there with John not there. This shouldn't have turned into this. Right, so as I say, he passed a couple of weeks ago now. The text I got was from a mate of mine called Steve. Came from one of John's best friends, Kev. And as I said at the time, I thought to myself, or I said to someone, I've not seen Kev for 15, 20 years. Anyway, a week and a half after the text came through, I stopped at a local McDonald's near the new house that I've just moved into, because the move was taking place at the time that I heard about John. And none of us knew how he died. We just knew that he'd died. And I'm at the car park in the McDonald's. I decided to eat it in the car park before travelling home. And I look across and I think, is that Kev? I thought, it can't be. Well, I know what game Kev's in. And he'd wear Ivy's jackets and stuff, and this fella did. I thought, it looks like him. I wasn't so sure, so I opened the car door. Kevin! No response. Kev! Then I see him looking round. Shouted it one more time, and I thought, it is, he's looking round. So I gets on, walks over, he says, hiya, Dave. I said, Kev, can't believe the news. He said, oh, none of us can. None of us can. I said, what happened? I said, he's no age. He said, Dave, tell me about it. I said, well, what happened? He said, we don't know. We just don't know. And for all I said, we don't know, I think he means on the day. He said, all it is, he said, we got a message, and he told me it was off. And he told me the message was off, and he said, off such and such a body's husband. And I didn't know the such and such. I said, is that his daughter? Kev said, yeah, it's his daughter's husband. Saying that John had had a stroke. Anyway, he's had a stroke. And I'm thinking he's had a stroke, and then a week or two later they took him into the hospital to do some more work on him, which I think is what happened. And he goes to the hospital on the Wednesday to have, I think, a stent fitted, which loads of people have fitted. It's like a routine kind of thing now. Now, as it turns out, in the last 2 to 3 years, I've had some heart issues as well. No heart attacks or anything like that, but mine isn't right. But that's my fault. It's down to the diet I have and whatever else and the way I live my life. But also we've got a history of it in our family, it turns out. I don't think John had any history of that at all. So I've had sort of some bits and pieces where I've been looked at and whatever else, and not some work done, but been through some procedures. And now I'm on tablets, and I'm going back and forth here. Often when I'd go in to see John to pick my car up, sometimes we'd have quarter of an hour where we'd sit and chat, and he was mentioning heart and so on and so forth, and he was saying, I'm on tablets, Dave. I said, well, I am John, and I told him what I'm on. He said, I'm on one of them, and we discussed things. He said, take it easy and look after yourself. Always reassuring words and whatever else. Anyway, I thought at one time I was going to be having a stent, and it's pretty routine, and it just goes to show you never know what's going to happen when you go into a hospital. So Kev says he goes in the hospital on a Wednesday morning. He said, and all of a sudden they're doing the operation, which is a pretty routine procedure nowadays from what we all can gather. He said, and as they're doing the work on him and he's going fine, his blood pressure tanks, it just drops through the floor. And Kevin said, we're told that they fought for an hour to bring him back and couldn't. And they've lost him on the table. And I'm saying, oh my God, how bad is that? And Kevin tells me, he said, a couple of days later, he said, nobody can believe it, Dave. A couple of days later, my wife, he said, she's in the local supermarket and she meets the guy that he works for or used to work for. And he said, what happened to him? And she told him the same story. He said, I can't believe it. He said, half an hour before he's going down to the operating theatre, he rings me up and says, right, in the garage today, I've got one of my customers coming in. Can you make sure you look after him? He's a good person, just look after him. And that's the kind of person John was. Half an hour before going down to theatre, he's ringing somebody about a customer of his that's having some work done on a car. He cares every bit as much of them about he does himself, and that's just typical John. Now the thing is with John, I mean, he got married many a year ago, I think a year or two after me. He married a lady called Edwina, who I believe is great. I never went to the wedding. I've never met her since they got married. Weirdly, I have met her before they got married, and I knew her, I think, a few years before John did. But not well, nothing in it, by the way, folks. I did some work once where she was there, and we probably might have exchanged hellos and goodbyes once or twice, that's all. I can't remember anything about her. I remember her being a good-looking girl when she was younger, I think. I'm pretty sure she probably will be now. I don't know how many children John's got. I know he's got a daughter for definite. He might have more. He's told me before, but I just don't remember because, as I say, my memory's crap. His mum and dad were wonderful people. I don't know if they're still both alive. I know that his brothers and his sister are. Apart from taking my car and picking it up, I've not socialised with John or done anything with him. For the last 30 years, he's been part of a band, and there's been times, a few years ago now, I said, I'll come and watch you next time you're around. Let me know when you're doing anything. And I just never got around to doing it. Because that's how you get when you live further apart and you've got families and whatever else. And I class John as one of the best friends I've ever had in my life. When I met Kevin the other week in the McDonald's car park and he told me the story, I said, Kev, I said, he killed me. I said, I know you'll think this sounds mad. I know how close you and Steve were to him. But I consider myself and yourself and John every bit as good friends. And he said, oh yeah, I get that, Dave. And then I thought later on that day, how could I have said that to Kevin? How can I be as close a friend or as much a friend to John as Kevin can be? They definitely spent 5 years at high school together. They probably spent 5 years at junior school together. They're in regular contact now, and I haven't been. But the thing behind this message is, for all I've not met John that many times over the last years, the impression he made on me for that 4 or 5 year period when we were really, really close, and ever since then, whenever I've bumped into him, is such that he's just really, really, really special. And as I say, I just don't want the lad to pass without somebody, what do they say, the young ones, putting that out there. If I leave this on, I don't even know if I'm going to leave this message on. It's going to be out tomorrow at 11. Whether I leave it on or not, I don't know. Maybe it'll depend on how tomorrow goes. Maybe it'll depend on whether I say anything to his wife or family. I might not even speak to them. I might not know what to say. I might tell them it's on air. I might not. I probably won't, knowing me, but I honestly don't know. As I say, if things are said at the funeral or whatever, I'm more than likely going to take this off tomorrow. But I don't want tomorrow to pass without somebody telling everybody that may listen what a great person he was and what a great person he is. I keep struggling to say was and is. His name was Cullen, by the way, John Cullen. Catholic lad, I think I mentioned it earlier, but it means nothing. Religion doesn't matter to me at all. Man United fan, like myself. Like rock music, like myself. He adored the Beatles. I don't mind him, he adored them. I was a John Lennon man. He was very much Paul McCartney, but liked them both. I've had 5 or 6 wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friends throughout my life. I'm doing a series now on my life, God only knows why. The first one ever called Mike Cartwright. Second one, probably my greatest friend of all time, John Lawton, no longer with us, died very, very, very young. Followed by Stu Massey, who now I believe lives in Australia. Followed by another fellow, and then followed by Phil, who's my current closest pal. So I've had 5 throughout my lifetime, and I was thinking to myself, of those 5, even though the best friend I've ever had was John Lawton, the only person in them 5 that I could put with John would be Mike Cartwright. Mike was exactly the same as John. Just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person. Nothing bad to say about anybody. Brilliant at what he did, same as John was. And nobody's ever said a bad word about him. Just one of the nicest people that walked the earth, same as John. I think I've done an alright job as a husband, a better job as a father. That's my proudest achievements. Am I as good a person as John? No, I'm not. That's how you know what I'm telling you. What I believe to be real is real. Not many people can say he's better than me or whatever else, or not many people are prepared to, whether they know or not. I'll say it, no problem. Kevin and Stevie's best mates, great lads. Are they as good as John? Is there anybody that's going to be at the funeral tomorrow as good as John? He was just the best. Really the best. Again, his name's John Cullen. He died aged 63 in December 2024. A sad, sad, sad loss. I've never met 10 people better. I might not have ever met 5 people better. A special, special person. As I say, I've not seen much of him of late. I've never seen his wife. I don't know how many children he had. I'll find all that out tomorrow. I don't know if his mum and dad are both still alive. John has told me. He's told me in the last year or 2, but I just don't remember. My memory is so poor. I know his brothers and his sister are still alive. No doubt I'll see them tomorrow for the first time in years, a couple of them. But just a really, really, really sad day the day I heard about it. An absolute hammer blow. I thought, well, his wife and kids, it must be the most awful day of their lives when it happened. It must have been absolutely shocking. It must have been shocking. But what I will say, for all it seems weird, and I don't know if I've got this worked out in my mind, but I have. In some respects, it wouldn't be the best day. Don't let me explain myself. But in some respects, when it happened later that day, and probably the couple of days after, they'll have had wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thoughts for all they really down and depressed, because that's when they'll really think what they had, what a person he was as a probably husband, I would guess, and father, and just human being. He was just so special. They'll be filled with sadness and regret, and they'll be tortured with it. But I think they'll get so much comfort from knowing how special the partner, the father, was. Just a great lad. Just a great, great lad. I'm going to miss him desperately. And as I say, I've seen him 2-3 times a year. But I'm going to miss him. Will I forget him? No, never. Never ever. And that's it. And after Christmas, and I should have done it now, I've decided I'm going to try and change the way I live and look after myself a bit more, on the back of what happened to John. Because I think he always treated his heart and everything correctly after the awful scare he had 30 odd years ago. I've had some issues a couple of years ago and a couple of scares, and I've not looked after myself as I should do. So I'm going to. But just an awful day the day I heard about it. And condolences to his wife, children, family, friends. I hope this video's offended nobody, I really, really do. It hasn't meant to. And please, if you see it and you know John and whatever else, don't message me. You can message or have a go at me. I mean, people have a go at me and all the time. It doesn't bother me. I've got the thickest skin in the world. If you had a go at me over this video, that probably would upset me, but that's the chance you take when you put something out without asking anybody's permission. But please don't message me to say anything nice or anything good. One, because it's not needed. Two, although I'd appreciate it, I wouldn't, because I find it hard to take any kind of credit for anything. And three, just because this isn't about me, and it wasn't and isn't for me. It's for Johnny Cullen. Johnny Cullen. That superstar that was and always will be in my mind. Rest in peace, John. I hope you do. I hope you've left good provisions for your family, and I hope they have great lives without you and manage to get over the hurt that it no doubt must cause them. It must be terrible for them. I really, really feel for them. I really, really, really do. And I know you've got loads of friends and whatever else, but I feel so sorry for Kev and for Steve and for the rest of your family. I really, really, really do. You were a superstar, John, and in my mind you're always going to be. Really, really special. And I was so lucky to have known you. Really, really lucky.